So you're thinking about making that move to Boise, Idaho, and you think, oh, it's beautiful, everything's perfect, small town living. Well, the Idaho lifestyle is a lifestyle that you got to get used to. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the top 7 things that you really need to think of, or maybe the top 7 things that may have you thinking differently about living down in Boise, Idaho. And if you want to learn those, we're getting after it right now. What's up, everybody? My name is Jackson Wilkie.
Shawn Tomich.
And we are the Living in Boise team. If this is your first time to this channel and you want to learn everything about what it's like to work, eat, sleep, live, play, and those 7 things that may have you avoid Idaho, make sure you tap that subscribe button and you click the little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. And we honestly are getting so many phone calls, emails, texts every single day from people moving and relocating here. And we absolutely love it. So thinking about moving anywhere in that Boise area, make sure you give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Days, nights, weekends, we got your back when moving to Boise, Idaho. All right, Shawn, so let's just hit them straight. I think this is something that's been working better for us, is just being open and honest. Like, either you love Idaho or you don't. We don't really know anything different. It's just the way of life. But with that, let's just really open up everything, Pandora's box, and talk about that true Idaho lifestyle, just so people can understand, like, okay, maybe it's not quite the fit for me. So
Sure, absolutely.
First and foremost, I think something that we need to bring up is it is a red conservative state. Why don't you kind of just, what was it like as a child? This isn't something that's like pressed. It's hardcore. We're Republican. Yeah, it's actually more of a way of life. What's your thoughts on it?
It's a culture, to be honest with you, and it's especially when you're raised that way. Honestly, like, I didn't know growing up, like, whether I was, like, what my political facility. What am I looking for? What word am I looking for?
I think the political, just what we are.
Yeah, right.
Hey, we went through Idaho education. That might be one of them.
Right. But yeah, it's just really, we were raised to work really hard. I got a very hard work ethic from my father. And he's who I attribute a lot of, or pretty much all my success to, is that hard work ethic. That's, important. There's a lot of, and this is a state that was built on a lot of hardworking people, because there was a lot of farm work and a lot of rural work and a lot of that stuff going on here, and it's still going on here. So there's that. There's the fact that this is the great outdoors. I mean, I live in the city, but I am 45 minutes, maybe an hour, but with being in the middle of nowhere with no one around me, and hunting and fishing and hiking and camping and all of those things. And that's just, again, it's just, we were raised that way here. And so yeah, it's more conservative for sure. There's a lot of churches everywhere, so you'll see a lot of that. So yeah, it's really just, it's a culture, the way we're raised here.
Yeah, so for me, it is. And when we talk about hunting, fishing, like, that's just how we were raised, and our parents really enjoyed that. And actually, for generations, a lot of it, obviously, back in the day, to bring food to the table, and it still is for us today, to fill that freezer. But when like the gun issue gets brought up a lot, like in Idaho, there's not a gun issue. Like, I'm not even that old. Early 2002 was graduating high school, but we'd have the hunting rifle in the bed of the or in the back of the pickup, because we were going deer hunting after. Like in the window, we weren't shooting anything up. But like, my son is 9 now, and he's been shooting guns since he was 5. But I'm more safe around him, or feel more safe around him, than 99% of the world, because we were just taught, you keep that barrel down. There's never any bullets in there, right? And so if he waves that gun around, you take it away, right? And so so when you think of red conservative, obviously the news is going to portray one thing, but us, we just love the way our lives are. And I guess with our lifestyle and being conservative, we just don't want our opinions changed. Like, have your opinions, be who you want to be. We got friends from all different scopes of life, and the more open you are, the better. But again, that's where Idahoans feel like their backs are against the wall, because we feel like we're getting changed. So that's the one thing we got to say. The number 2 thing that maybe you wouldn't be able to handle is we're not close to anything. Like, the closest major city, which is where I was born, is Pocatello. Like, that's 3 hours to the east.
Yeah.
And talk about this growing up. Like, when you were in Boise, it's just, you were in Boise.
Well, the other thing is that that people don't realize also is that we don't have any professional teams here.
Right.
So a lot of times you'll see if people are, fans of their sport teams, if it's not from where they came from, it's usually like the Denver Broncos or the Seattle Seahawks, because
Yep.
those are the most relatively close teams to us. So yes, we don't have, big city things like that. Growing up here, Boise was like the place that you leave. That's like when you grew up, there was nothing going on. There was nowhere to go. There was no mall. I mean, there was fields where our mall is.
Yep.
I mean, it just there was nothing. It was just if you wanted to do something, it was just outdoors,
Right.
and it was just playing in the mountains and fishing and camping and doing all of those things. And so that, like I said, that's what a lot of us grew up doing, because that's what there was to do, and we took it for granted growing up too. You didn't realize what you're in the middle of, and then when you become an adult, you get out in this stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, this, like when you get into the sawtooths.
Yep.
I mean, it's stuff that is absolutely things you see on postcards. It's breathtaking, the kind of stuff that we have here in Idaho.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there because I remember growing up too, and like the dream of living in California was it. I still have friends, who've made careers over there, but it was always to get out, because we never really had anything going on. And actually our major travel was either over into Montana, maybe down into Utah was like the farthest, or Washington, but it was usually either to Coeur d'Alene or to Boise, because you had to play that in state. So just know when you move to Boise, it's not like you can just go check out another major city, or, you're really right in there. Your life is now going to be centered around it and, enjoying the outdoors. So if you can't handle that, I definitely watch
Salt
out.
Lake's like 5 hours away. Seattle's, several hours away. So it's not major city here. We have everything we need. When you come here, you'll appreciate everything we have, but we don't have the big fancy shopping. We don't have a strip of Nordstrom, Fifth Avenue, Saks. We don't have that.
Yep, for sure. Number 3, I think we've helped a lot of clients move and relocate here, and the one thing they do not understand is Boise's basically like, I hate to say a desert, but that's the climate it is. It is
absolutely
bone dry in Boise. Being here, you just kind of take those things again for granted. You don't really realize it until you go to a very humid climate. But I mean, from winter to summer, you basically better pack some lotion with you.
Yeah, and you get acclimated to it. Like that's the thing. When people come in, they talk about that. Like, oh my gosh, my hands are dry, and they talk about how it's different breathing the air here because it's higher here. It's it's a high. We're actually considered a high desert. So yeah, it is different. Like I said, I don't notice it or anything, and it's something that we're just accustomed to and used to. But absolutely, and in the summertime, it gets hot. I mean, next week, and this is mid-August, which is kind of late for us to be hot. Next week, it's supposed to be pretty much over 100 almost all next week. Yep. Now, we don't have that for months at a time. I mean, it's usually a couple weeks at a time, and then we'll break out of those hundreds, and then it's pretty dang nice, to be honest with you. So it's not like all summer long. It's not like you're living in Tempe, Arizona, or in the middle of Arizona where it's 110, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, but that's another shock. People don't realize it gets 110, 115 in Idaho. Like, it definitely can. In fact, up in Coeur d'Alene, the Ironman was just a few weeks ago. It was 116 degrees. They had like a 40% attrition rate, like fall out. Crazy. So it can get freaking hot. And it is really dry. So you're really going to want like that moisturizer and have it with you at all times. It's something that's really going to be different for you. For me personally, I like in Idaho, I always get bloody noses like crazy. When I go to a super humid climate, I had to work in Texas for 2 years. I almost never got a bloody nose. It was the weirdest thing ever. Maybe it was half elevation, but it is that dry. It can get you.
Absolutely.
So number 5 on the list, and do us a favor, guys, comment down below anything that we've said. If that's too much for you, not enough, if you can handle Idaho, we really want to hear your comments down below. So number 5 is public transportation. If anybody's moving here, is there any that's really existent?
Uber. That's primarily what people use to get around. We don't have a bus. I mean, we have bus systems, sure. It's what every city's going to provide, but that's about it. I mean,
the buses are like focused to downtown, and I think they are done by like 6.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's that they're going to bus around the metropolitan area, which I say metropolitan. It's not really metropolitan, but they're going to bus around there. But that's it. You're not going to walk out and hail a taxi anywhere, and you're not going to jump on a train or a monorail anywhere, or a tram or anything like that. I mean, it's your car or Uber
Yep.
or the bus.
That's right.
That's pretty much it.
Yep, you're going to need a vehicle, and a lot of these, since Boise's really growing, they're going out into the agricultural fields. I mean, you're going to have the crazy thing is you might have like a 20-mile drive, but that could sometimes only take 20, 25 minutes. Some of the traffic is getting bad. It truly is, especially for locals. But compared to most major cities, it's not bad. But, you're going to be out there 15, 20 miles because that's where the developments are really starting to push.
Yeah, things are stretched out here a little further than people are used to if they're coming from a metropolitan area or from a major city. I've had that's interesting that you mentioned that. I just had an email I think it was last week, of someone saying, hey, I don't have a car. Is that going to be a problem? And she's like, I want to, live in Boise and work in Boise. I'm like, well, living in Boise and working in Boise, it doesn't mean you're living in Boise and walking, a couple blocks down the road. That's honestly not very common. And that's what I explained to her, that things are stretched out. You're gonna have to pretty much have a vehicle. And so when people are coming in from cities like that, it is different because you have to drive everywhere. Unless you really truly do live downtown Boise and you find a job downtown Boise, which again, it's not likely that'll happen. It can happen, but it's not likely.
Yeah, that's true. Number 6 on the list is wild animals. Of course, it's Idaho. People know that, but what you don't understand is, they're going to be out there, and you have to understand that if you end up seeing some kind of wild animal or something running away, being frantic, scared is actually the wrong thing to do. But yes, you're going to see a lot of wildlife in Idaho, from bears to deer, and just, sure. You're an avid mountain biker. I'm an avid hunter. Yep. We see these things everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I pretty much go up to the Cascade, McCall area. That's kind of my getaway from here. It's about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away.
The sneaky place back in the day. It's been pretty well discovered too.
Yeah, I spend quite a bit of time up at the Tamarack Resort and places like that. And just even driving around, just if you're in the mountains and you're driving around, you'll see deer. We saw a couple bucks just hanging out on the side of the road. And you don't have to be too concerned about being hurt by our wildlife or anything like that. Obviously, if you see anything, one thing about wildlife is you don't approach it. You don't mess with it. You observe it, let it do its thing, but don't mess with it. Don't try to interact with it. That's when people always get in trouble.
Yep.
But that said, we have some cougars, bobcats, for sure we do. There's no news stories of any cougars stalking and attacking anybody. That doesn't happen. And we have bears. Absolutely, we have bears. We have very little grizzly, so we don't have a lot of grizzly present. We do have a lot of black bear. Black bear actually attack more. I sound like Dwight Schrute. Black bears, they attack more often than grizzlies do, which people don't realize. However, that said, again, same thing. If you steer clear of them, you're going to be completely fine. Yep. With all of the hunting, fishing, hiking, backpacking, biking, everything that I've done, I've run into several bears in my life, and mamas with their cubs. Everything. And same thing, like once you realize they're there, especially if she's got cubs or anything like that, you just hold still, relax, just be patient, and they'll just kind of just do the same thing.
Yep.
Because they just want to make sure you're not a threat. And they'll just stare at you a little bit. They'll back off, you back off slowly, and everybody goes on about their day.
I guess it's just something, again, we know growing up, like since you're a little kid, it's never panic, never freak out. Don't go pet a cub. Like we read these stories. And that is the one thing you do worry about, is the cubs in the south. So don't get in between them. But for the most part, they are going to run away. Just back up slowly. Just don't do anything. Don't interact with them.
They don't have anything to do with you. However, that said, I know you're probably the same way, Jackson. Anytime I go into the woods, I always have protection with me.
Right.
For that, if you're someone that doesn't carry a gun or want to carry a gun, then you absolutely should always have some type of bear spray on you. I don't think about that because, like I said, I always have a gun with me in my backpack for safety because, again, you don't know what you're going to run into. But that is something that I don't think to mention to people because, it's just something that I'm accustomed to and used to. But, you do want to still have protection with you. It's safe, but be a Boy Scout. Be prepared.
We always got our pistol, especially during archery season when we only have a bow. But yes, you're going to want to look into those things. Last, but not least, we do not get the hurricanes, obviously. We don't get tornadoes, obviously. You can get extreme weather from 120 degrees to -20. But the one thing that really hits Idaho hard is the fires and the smoke season.
Yep.
Sometimes it gets so bad where it's like stay indoors, and a lot of it's not usually Idaho burning. It's surrounding states. It pulls down from
Correct.
Canada. It comes over from California.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to realize, this is not the metro areas anymore. You're surrounded by national forests in just about any direction, and there could be some fires.
Yep. One thing that I noticed on a lot of the reports, because people like to check things like what is the pollen count like, what is the air quality like in Idaho and in Boise, and in the rankings, our air quality is actually really low. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't figure that out. I was like, I don't understand how our air quality could be low. We've got wonderful air. We've got all of these trees that are producing great oxygen. And then that's when I remember, it's like, oh, summertime. And it's not every summer, and it doesn't happen all the time, and it's usually not for very long, but you're correct. We typically get a lot of smoke coming from Oregon and Northern California. In fact, we're kind of socked in with smoke right now, and it's mostly not even our fires. We have a little bit going on right now, but it's mostly other people's fire or other states' fires. But that does happen. You're actually absolutely correct, especially because how we sit in the valley here. Yep. Smoke will kind of sit and it'll kind of linger in, and it's not that great when it's here. And I honestly hate it. I can't stand it. But it's gone in about a week or two, and then guess what? I love it
again. And again, it is something that happens just about every year. I mean, fire season is a season there in Idaho.
It is.
The entire state. So you just have to realize those things. Again, comment down below if you can handle those 7 things, what you think about those. But this is what we love doing. We love helping people relocate down here to Boise, Idaho, and really filling you in on everything you need to know. Different areas fit different lifestyles, and until you can ask those questions and we can pull up the map and show you, you won't be able to find your perfect spot in Idaho. So the only way that we can help you is you have to reach out. You got to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Days and nights, weekends, we got your back with moving to Boise, Idaho. Until the next video, guys, we'll catch you later.
Thanks a lot.